Thank you for joining us. This is the NCEES Principal and AP Middle of the Year process for 23-24. As you can see on here, our slides, there's a bit.ly, and Cami has also put that in the chat for you if you'd like to follow along with us today. So welcome.
Hi, I'll introduce myself. My name is Donna Curry, and I am the NCEES and OER Product Manager. My contact information is on the screen, so if after today you have any questions about how to use the site, how to access things in the site, I'll be happy to help you with that.
And I am Jennifer Bass. I am the NCEES coordinator. So if you have any questions about NCEES policy, I'm the person that you contact, and I work really closely with these two ladies. So if you need us, our information is right here at the bottom. Cami.
Yep, and hello, I'm Cami Nairn. I am the former NCEES product manager. Welcome to Donna. But I am transitioning over to be Assistant PowerSchool SIS product manager for the student system. So welcome to our webinar today. I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you. And everybody, we're going to turn our cameras off just to help with bandwidth, just to make sure that there's no issues coming through today.
All right, today, these are the things that we're going to be covering for our agenda. We're going to show you how to access the system itself, the principal homepage, and show you all the help guides. We're also going to check your plan access assignments. We're going to review the principal evaluation process just a little bit to make sure everybody understands what's going on at the middle of the year. We're going to show you how to open the principal and AP evaluation plan. And we're going to review the principal and evaluator responsibilities as you work through the observations and all for the year. We're going to talk a little bit about the mid-year conference and review the teacher evaluation process and also the PDP review cycle. We're going to also be reviewing the professional development component a little, and we're going to talk about reports and resources.
So let's go ahead and talk about how do we actually access NCEES. Well, in order to access NCEES, you are going to access through NCEdCloud. So you can click or type in my.ncedcloud.org. For new users, the first time you log in, you do have to claim your account. So from your first screen, you'll just make sure you type in your username, which is your staff UID. You'll make sure you enter your password, and then you're going to look for this little NCEES icon. It does look like a P because right now NCEES is with PowerSchool, so that is why you still see this P here. The first time you do log in, you are going to need to make sure you click claim your account, and that'll help you get through and so you can access your resources later. Once you log in, you are going to go to the principal's landing page. Some things you might want to look for as you were on this page is you'll see here that this is one of our newest updates. We're going to actually talk about this a little bit later on. It's a clickable text within the observation standard. So as there's updates to the program and things happen, we put this information here. You can see we have access here to the webinars that we are currently looking at. And then if you've never paid attention to the top, the envelope will allow you to see targeted messages to you. You can see the system calendar. The little question mark is for vendor help guides, and then you can click on the initials and manager profile, and you can also log out from there. If you've never looked at the help guide page, I would highly recommend looking at the help guide page. There are guides for every plan type, comprehensive, standard, abbreviated, late hire. There's also additional information for district administrators, district and site administrators. This is going to tell you who does what. It's going to have screenshots. It's going to have arrows. So if you've never looked from NCEES and clicked on the Help Guides tab, it's very beneficial to do so. Okay. So how do you check plan access rights? So in order to do this, you would navigate to My Staff, Administration, Staff Management, Teacher or Staff Plan Access. You can also go to Staff Administration to open the Principal Plan Access Rights tab, and only district administrators can do this. So you no longer, you do not assign or access rights to the principal plan through the My Staff tab. You have to be on the Staff Evaluations tab to do that. So as you are assigning rights to teacher and staff plans, this help guide is going to help you with that process, but these are just some things to look at as you are assigning those rights. For the evaluator, this is the person who's going to be completing the summary evaluation for the teacher at the end of the year. It's automatically assigned to head principals. However, you can assign that to someone else if you need to, but this is who it's automatically assigned to. Remember that lead principal, that budget code of 114 is automatically the evaluator of everyone who's in their location. You can also give someone observer rights, and the observer right does almost everything the evaluator does, but they cannot sign off on that summary evaluation. So they complete formal observations, informal observations throughout the school year. You also have certain plan types that have to have a peer observer, so that's required on those comprehensive plans, but it's optional on standard, abbreviated, and late hire plans. But the peer observer, be careful, is not the same thing as the observer. The observer would not be able to sign off on a peer observer plan. So make sure that you have this peer observer right given to whoever needs to be that peer observer. Also, when you are in the PDP, you can assign a mentor. You'll notice that a mentor is not required for other plan types. You may see it on the PDPs as a signature, but it is not required. It's only required for BTs in the system, but you will not see an asterisk there. So some people think that because it appears it is required, pay attention to those asterisks when you're in there. And then you can give someone view-only rights. So this is maybe someone who needs to view a principal's evaluation, but maybe they can't edit it. They just need to see it. And then you can also give reopen rights. And this is the person who's responsible for reopening plans within the district, but they are not in a superintendent role. Also, assigning rights to principal plans. And remember, this is not found in the same spot. So this is actually in staff evaluations. And once you do this, you can assign an evaluator for the principal. You can assign a contributor, and they're allowed to add notes, maybe artifacts. You can have someone who can view that principal plan, and then you can have someone who can reopen the reopen admins who can reopen that plan if necessary. And remember, principal plan types are located in assigning those rights are in a different spot than the other plan types. And here's a guide to help you with that process should you need it. So I'm going to turn back over to Jennifer.
Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about the principal evaluation process itself. So on the screen, we have linked the evaluation guide for evaluators of principals and the principal AP evaluation guide itself, if you would like to take a look at that. The principal evaluation process infographic is also linked, but we're going to take a look at it a little closer on the next slide. But those are there for you if you need those. This is a one-pager of the principal evaluation process. We're going to take a look at that and look at where we are at this point in the year, middle of the year. Now, as a review, we want you to remember that you will meet with your principal, or if you're an assistant principal or superintendent, you are going to meet with whoever is your supervisor. Okay, you're going to meet on 3 different occasions to complete your evaluation throughout the year. And that initial meeting at the beginning of the year, the mid-year conference, and the summary evaluation conference, which happens at the end of the year. So right now, step 3, that initial meeting happens at the beginning of the year. And if you have not already done that and discussed all the components of your performance, including your self-assessment, your goal development, and evidences, data, artifacts, you need to go ahead and get that going ASAP. Otherwise, your evaluation will not be relevant and reliable because we're getting towards middle of the year. So we're going to assume that this has already happened and we're getting time for our mid-year conference. At this time, you're going to be collecting data for step number 4. The mid-year conference is designed to discuss the progress of your goal attainment and discuss your school-wide student growth data. And all of that should be available pretty soon. EVOS data usually releases right around a week before, a week after Halloween, so that's upcoming. So that is one valuable piece of data that should be coming that you could discuss during mid-year. The school growth data also should inform your support of your teachers, the practices and programs moving forward throughout the year. And it is very important that you and your evaluator have a shared understanding of what your role is and your goals look like moving forward at this point. Also, during the mid-year conference, you need to be discussing what adjustments need to be made. You've made goals at the beginning of the year. How have I progressed through that? Is my data supporting my goals? So at this point, you should be talking with your superintendent or whoever is doing your observation about what adjustments do you need to make to continue your growth throughout the year towards the end of the year. Now, this is a meeting. This is an optional form that you can use. It's called the mid-year assessment form, and it can be found linked right here, and it's also in the principal book, assessment book. This form will help you to document and guide the conference topics and the conversations during your mid-year conference. This is to ensure that you and your principal have a shared understanding of your performance, your goals at this time of the year, and what changes that need to be made moving forward. You can consider using this document, or if there's another resource that your district uses, that's fine also, but it is there and available for you to use. On the slide, you can see this is a questions tool. We do have this linked out so that you can access that, but it can be found on our website. As you're continuing to improve your understanding of the school executive standards, remember to use this question tool. It will help you in your mid-year conferences to guide that discussion, or possibly some questions that you could be asked to help pinpoint where you are and where you need to go to move forward toward the end of the year. But this is a great resource for you. Now we're going to pass it back over to Donna to talk about opening the principal evaluation. Actually, I'm going to have one more slide, don't I?
Yes.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about the responsibilities. The evaluator of principals, they are supervisors. So they're in charge of the principal and AP evaluation process. They identify the strengths and areas for improvement. They will offer recommendations for improving performance, and they ensure that the information that is brought forward and used as documentation is accurate and correct. In preparing for this, the principal or AP needs to prepare for their initial meeting. They should complete their self-evaluation. They should identify all of their performance goals for the year, identify change initiatives. What are they going to do this year to change and make changes within their school and their practice? They're going to be gathering data, artifacts, and evidences to share, and they're going to develop and implement strategies that are going to improve their personal performance and help them to attain their goals. They're also going to prepare for that mid-year conference and their final evaluation conferences. Now I'm going to turn it over to Donna.
So how do you actually open your evaluation? So it may have been a while since you revisited this. So in order to open this, you're going to go to NCEES. And from NCEES, you will click on My Evaluations. And from My Evaluations, you'll see that there's a blue line above your current evaluation. You can just click on this title in order to open this and enter your evaluation. So once again, from NCEES home screen, My Evaluation, Current Evaluations, and then click on the blue words to get you to that title. Once you open up that your evaluation container, you're going to see that hopefully you have green checks for everything above this point. Your orientation should have been done at the beginning of the school year. That pre-evaluation planning should have been done, and that initial meeting should have been done. So at this point in time, you were looking at data collection, and you were also looking at the mid-year conference. So hopefully you have all of these checks. If not, you do need to go back and complete something at this point. So once you are in the data collection container, the evaluator will see three options. The person being evaluated only sees two. The evaluator notes is something that only the evaluator can see. That is where they can add content that the principal or AP cannot see. However, you can add notes or to either section, whether it be the artifact and notes or the evaluator notes, by clicking on New Note. After you click New Note and start entering, you will see the option to attach a file after you start. So you actually do have to start that note in order to get that option to attach that file. You can enter that note, you can describe your artifact, you can tag it to a standard or element, and you click Done when you are finished with anything that you need to upload or that you need to do.
Yep, one clarification.
Okay.
When you're entering those notes, if we can go back a slide, you must put in your text and then click Save or Done. I forget what the word is, and then the attached file will show up.
Okay. So, yes, I see click Done. So yeah, click Done, and then you can do that. Yeah. Thank you, Candy.
You're welcome.
Make sure I got to the right screen. And I feel like I missed one. No,
You're
Okay.
make you.
Okay, so I was going to say, I felt like I missed one. So when you're in that mid-year conference, and once you open that container, you're going to look for those asterisks, because those asterisks are those required fields that have to be done. You're going to see that you're going to have to do your performance goals, your mid-year goals for that. And you're going to see that during that, you need to give any progress that you've done to your goals that you already have. You're going to see if you need to add any new goals. Remember, one of your goals does have to be a human resource leadership goal, but you can tag that goal once you're editing, and you can click new, you can click what it applies to, and once you're done, make sure that you do save that. But the guide that is the guide in the help guides can help you with this process to make sure you don't miss anything. But looking for those asterisks, because after you do your goals, you have to have your evaluator signature and then you sign. So the mid-year evaluator signature. So remember, before you sign anything, remember to review those beginning of the year goals. Remember, view or create those mid-year goals. Review that initial meeting at the beginning of the year so you can see how you progress towards the middle of the year, and then you would acknowledge. So the evaluator would sign first. So this is just what your screen might be. And then after the evaluator has signed, it's time for the principal to sign, once again, reviewing anything that may have been added, anything that may have been changed, any comments that you might see, and then you can acknowledge that as well. And then always make sure you do acknowledge. Are there any questions at this point, Jennifer or Cammie?
I don't see any at this point.
No, ma'am.
Okay, thanks. I'm going to turn it back over to Jennifer.
Okay, we're going to talk now about the teacher evaluation process, since this is a big part of the responsibility of administrators as the instructional leader in your school. So we're going to start here. This one-page visual that can be found on our NCEES site, and it's on page 21 of the teacher evaluation process manual if you want to look at it there. In our webinar today, we're going to focus on the bottom part of this one-page visual, which is step 3, the observation cycle. In red, you see step 3, the observation cycle, which includes observations and post-observations. We're going to look first at component 5. An observation is when an evaluator checks the descriptors of the rubric while they are watching a lesson in the classroom. There are 2 types of observations, formal and informal. Remember, the formal observation must last 45 minutes or the entire class period, and an informal observation should last at least 20 minutes. A post-conference is not required for those, but they can be requested by the teacher. Then teachers with less than 3 years of employment must be on the comprehensive evaluation cycle. That is 3 formal observations from the principal or their designee, and then 1 formal observation from a peer. Teachers with more than 3 years of employment will be placed on the standard or the abbreviated evaluation cycle. The standard cycle requires 3 observations, and 1 of those must be formal. And then if you are on the abbreviated cycle, that includes 2 observations on standards 1 and 4. And that abbreviated observation can be either formal or informal. That's the principal's choice. Go back 1 for me. There you go. Let's look at component 6 here. As a result of the observation, we have the post-observation conference. During this post-observation conference, the principal should conduct the conference no later than 10 days after each formal observation. If you wait any longer, the feedback is not as good or as valid, so it needs to happen within 10 days of that observation happening. The purpose of this post-observation is to discuss and document the strengths and the weaknesses that were found on the rubric. The post-observation conference is the heart of what we're trying to accomplish here, which is the growth of our teachers. They should focus on the evidences that are gathered during our observations, and the teacher should have an opportunity to reflect on the observation as it relates to the language of the rubric. We want observers to focus on providing relevant feedback on the marked descriptors and how they need their teachers to grow forward and improve their practices. Make sure that the language of the rubric is used to ensure the accurate interpretation of the standards. So post-observation conferences should be linked directly back to the descriptors, not the rating category. So you should not at any point during observations talk about developing, proficient, accomplished, and distinguished. You're going to use the language of the descriptors, and always remind teachers that no one observation is going to fully inform the rating that they receive at the end of the year. As you can see on the screen in front of you, these are the teacher categories and the evaluation cycle comparisons. This can be found, it's linked there for you. It can also be found on the website. So these are just outlining all of the requirements for the process for all the different cycles. Now, as you're completing your observations, these are the little flower symbols that you're going to see. They represent the levels of completion for each step. If you see gray, the step has not been started. If it's partially blue, the step is in progress. If you see orange, that means it has been marked complete, but it has not been finalized. And the green says that the activity is complete. The chart that you see in front of you shows which observation containers must be locked by the end of the year in order to open that summative container. At this point, which is middle of the year, you can see within the red box what activities need to be completed at this point. Observation number 1 and 2 should be completed by mid-year for all teachers on all plan types. And if you have late hires who have already been hired, you should really hope that you have at least one observation completed on them, because you want to get that first observation done as soon as possible, as soon as they've come into their position. So this will ensure that you're on target to get everything finished and be ready for summative at the end. In the observation cycle, you guys know that it's kind of like a back and forth between the principals and the teachers, what has to be completed. So first, the first step, the principal will complete the pre-observation conference. Then the teacher will acknowledge that that pre-observation happened. Then the principal will complete the formal or informal observation, and then complete the post-observation conference with the teacher. At that point, the teacher would acknowledge that the post-observation happened, and they would submit a written response if they wanted to. That's totally optional. If they do submit a written response, the principal acknowledges the written response and then will lock the observation activity. So do watch for the little asterisks, because those are required fields to be able to close an activity.
So when you're actually, I know that Jennifer just explained the process of the back and forth. So what does that look like in the system? So when you have completed that observation number 2, remember you're going to go into this container. It is going to say that there's 7 activities. They were all listed on that previous slide. And anything with an asterisk has to be completed. And once again, where I say look for those green checks, if you do not see these green checks here, you're not going to be able to go into this observation number 2. Because there is something that's missing. So if you have something missing here, make sure you get that completed. When you are in the completed observation number 2, remember these asterisks are things that are required. Remember, late hire, at this point, you're just trying to get observation number 1 in for them, which is why you don't see any asterisks for observation number 2. But for the rest of these, you can see what's required in the comprehensive standard and abbreviated plan, where you are required. You have to have those observations, the post conferences, signatures for evaluator and the teacher, and then you actually have to log those activities. While other things can also be added, they are not required. So observation tips as you are in the system and you are trying to work with your staff. When you are in the evaluation, if you've never clicked on like the little head and shoulders icon, if you click on that head and shoulders, that's going to open up everyone in a list who was in that plan type that you were on. So it's going to save you some time manipulating the site. So once again, when you're in a certain plan type, look for little little people icon right there, and then you can search for someone who has a comprehensive planner. They're all going to show up in the list, and you can click on their name directly from here. Remember, this only works with like plan types, but the next time you finish everyone on the comprehensive plan, you can look at the abbreviated plan and then go through that list as well to save time. Also, do not finalize the observation until after the post-observation conference and any written responses that might need to be done, any signatures. Finalizing before you have that meeting means you would have to reach out to the district administrator, have them to unlock plans, reopen plans, and so just waiting to finalize until after that meeting happens will prevent you from having to wait on someone else to open that plan back up for you. So don't finalize. You can share the plan, and we do recommend going ahead and sharing, but you can't finalize until after that has also been shared as well. But remember, save time by going ahead and waiting to finalize after you do have those meetings. Also, when you are observing, you'll notice that you do have their standards appear. If for some reason you go into a situation to observe someone and this does not match their teaching rubric. So maybe you walk in to observe a media coordinator and their teacher standards comes up, or you know that you should be looking for a school counselor, but the teacher standards come up. If you have started this plan, you are the one who needs to deactivate that plan. Excuse me, the rubric, you would just deactivate this, and then as long as it is correct in my staff, set to the correct plan type. So you'll see here, this should be a school counselor. We know this is right. Go ahead and deactivate this, and then when it comes back, it will repopulate as long as it has processed overnight with the correct plan type. Whoever starts this is the one who has to deactivate. So if this was in a self-assessment, the person who started the self-assessment would have to deactivate it, and then whoever started the evaluation would have to deactivate and allow that to process.
Yep.
There's a little bit more details. Oh, did I miss something?
Yeah. The word is delete from the menu.
Okay.
So you're gonna delete that rubric. You don't have to deactivate the whole plan, but you can delete the rubric once it's started. So just make sure you start that rubric. As if you're the evaluator, go ahead and start it. You see teacher there, and it should be counselor or media or something else. Delete it, and as long as it's set correctly on the My Staffs page, it will like spin a little bit and repopulate with a blank new rubric with the correct standards.
Thanks, Jamie. I was getting my words confused. And you would find that option to delete with this drop-down arrow right here in the menu. There are more slides with more details. If you attended our presentation a few weeks ago, you'll see that we do have this link here with some more guidance on how to do that. So that is linked over here. New last year was when you had marked something in a column, it would change to orange. So you know that something has been chosen in that. So it kind of does stand out. So you can see it just a little bit easier. So hopefully that helped with you, making sure that you had something checked in every row. But new last week, I think it might have been week before last now, is now, if you have not had a chance to see this, all of the descriptor words now are also like a hot button. So if you were to click any of these words in this section, that box would check. So you no longer, if you're walking around with a device and you're trying to click, it's sometimes hard to get in that tiny little box. From now on, you can click any of the words in that descriptor and it will check that box as well. So that was new last week. And we have a little video here if you'd like to learn more about that update that has just started. So we're excited about that and hope that'll make, as you go around and observe, just a little bit easier. Remember that written responses, if you do receive one of those, you do need to acknowledge that you have received that written response. And so once you get that, you'll just need to make sure that you do acknowledge with this little asterisk. Remember, anything with the asterisk is required. So if you do get one, you have to come in and say, yes, you did get it. And then you could save and exit that just to make sure that it is note that you did receive that. Staff acknowledgement. So remember, the observations do require evaluation and teacher acknowledgement signatures in the observation conference activity when it does take place. And we try to make sure that teachers know that acknowledging this does not mean that they accept nor they approve the report. It just indicates that the process has taken place and that it has been shared with them. So if they have any issues, they are allowed to do that written response where they can upload any artifacts, any written responses that they have. But acknowledgement of this does not mean that they they agreed. So we try to tell them that, but just to make sure that they do see that. You know, there is that plan in place. If you need to do the document summary override, that can be done. Just have a plan in place of who can do that and what requirements there to have that process done, so you can continue on with additional observations later on in the school year. And just remember that in lieu of the teacher signature, when you do that acknowledgement override or teacher override, it will say who did that. So it'll have whoever's name did do that override. Remember that override is not immediate. It does need to process overnight. And new this year, you do have the option to do the summary evaluation document override. Only your NCEES district administrator can do that, and you would probably want to have a policy in place for who is allowed to do that and at what point in the year. Before they were just listed in the individual observations, but now they are at the end of the summary evaluation as well. Okay, Jennifer.
Okay, we're going to review now a little bit about the PDP review cycle that you're going to be doing with your staff. So as you know, there are 3 different types of plans: individual, monitored, and directed. PDP plans are designed as a roadmap for our teachers to grow. We encourage you to have individual school and district goals that are aligned with your school improvement plan and the teacher effectiveness data. So keep that in mind as you're helping to guide your teachers through their professional development plan development and as you review them. We do have some guides linked here for you that you are welcome to use if you need some help with being the evaluator or helping your teachers to develop their plans. And as before with the PDP, we also have a review cycle. The teacher is going to put in the PDP details and create their goals. Then the principal is going to review those and sign off. Then if there is a mentor assigned, the PDP must be signed by the mentor. After the mentor signature has been procured, it will go back for the teacher to sign. After all of those people have signed off on the PDP, it will be locked, which is step 5.
So once you are in the system, and you remember you clicked on your current evaluations, you will see that you do have your PDP, is make sure I'm in the right one. Yours is part of your plan, your teacher's is not, So when you are in your teacher's plan and you're observing them, you're going to see these icons as before. Remember, orange means something was reopened, so that might be an issue there. Anything with an asterisk means that you do need to go back and do those. Remember, mentor is listed, but it does not have that asterisk because it is not required, but it is there for those plans that need that mentor to sign this PDP. And then the goal is to have all of your green checks here. Remember, this one does not have to have anything. And then after this has been done, then you can acknowledge this. You can also, once you are in your PDP, you'll have this little drop-down arrow, so you can print anything that has happened throughout the school year. You can go back and print the initial review, your mid-year review. At the end of the year, you can also print any of those, and you'll have a record of your activities of your PDP as how you progressed over the year. Remember, that is under the record of evaluation activities. Once you are also in NCEES, there are professional development opportunities. When you are observing someone, you will notice that you do have that little light bulb, and it's kind of small here. It's kind of small when you're in the program as well, but beside each standard, you do have that light bulb. So if you are observing and you would like to recommend a learning opportunity for your teachers, you can click on that light bulb. Once you as an administrator click on the light bulb, it's going to take you to a list of courses. You can decide if you want to recommend or require that course. Then you can decide how you would like to display that option, and then you can register them for that course as well. If your teachers want to take their own course, all they would need to do is check register. They will not have as many options as you would, but they can also take courses as well, and that is built directly into that observation with that rubric. So you'll notice each of these little light bulbs, and most of our course creators, or a lot of our course creators, do tag standards to their courses as they build them. If you need more information about that light bulb, you can see we have linked the help guide here as well. In addition to courses there, you'll notice that we also do have courses that are offered through North Carolina Virtual Public Schools. We did link those here. You'll see that we also have courses that we have already pulled from NCEES. You'll notice some of these courses do overlap. But when you click on this course in North Carolina Virtual Public Schools, you will see that as you look at a course, you'll see over here that what kind of course types this could be. And that's one thing we do like about when we go to North Carolina Virtual Public Schools. You'll see that this particular course, Accessing Digital Tools, could be general, but it could also be a digital learning competency. So this is something that you take, you get your certificate, and then however CUs are handled in your district, you could show them this option that says it could be offered at both, and then your district decides what type of credit you would get for that. But we do like that if you do click on that link, you do see that option. As well, if you'll notice here that we have linked some self-paced courses for you. This was just updated last week. You need to click on the course. Once you click on that, you'll see we do have all PD courses, and this was updated last week. And you'll see that all the courses we have right now in NCEES that are self-paced are listed here, and you can go through and navigate those courses and go see what you can look by subject area, you can look by DLCs, you can look for general, but you have all of your self-paced courses listed here as well. So we organize those for you. So if you need DLCs, that is a great place to start, and you can look at those. Also in NCEES, you do have reports that you can run. You'll see that when you go to your reporting tab, if for some reason you can't see your reporting tab, sometimes it's hidden on the right, just click the drop down arrow. It depends on how many things you have listed in your tabs at the top. But once you click on reporting, you're going to want to choose this drop down to quick reports, some reports that might be beneficial for you. And only site and district administrators can see this reporting tab. Keep in mind that all quick reports only work for active plans. So if you have a plan that was not started, that will not appear here. If you want to at any time see what any of these reports do, if you click on the word here, you will generate a list where you can see all of those reports and their descriptions. Some things I just want to point out that might be beneficial is this activity lock report. And so that activity lock report is going to be able to show you what has been locked on each plan, because you know there's required activities that do have to be locked. And in addition, that evaluation completion report, and that evaluation completion report is going to show you the completion status on those activities within the plan itself. Remember, once they've been started. And we have, I know we've been sending out in our NCEES bulletins lately, trying to help you clean up your NCEES accounts, removing people who have left your district, making sure people who are in your district now only have your district and not previous districts. Some reports that are beneficial to help with that are these two reports. Once again, you can click on this drop down and you'll see them. Individuals belonging to more than one site within a district, or individuals who belong to sites in more than one district. If you do find you have individuals who are in more than one district, that is, you would have to reach out to their previous district to have them made inactive in staff UID. But this is very beneficial in helping you clean up your NCEES. And if you didn't pay attention to the NCEES bulletins over the last couple of weeks, we've been trying to send you helpful hints for that. When you do click on that evaluation completion exception report, we just want to kind of show you what that says. I know it's kind of a little bit hard to see, but you can see this. You'll see that you do have your plan type listed. You will see if it's completed, not started. You may see something is in progress, but this is a great quick little plan or report that'll help you see that. And remember, you can download this report to a CSV, and then you can open that report in Excel or Google Sheets or whatever you'd like to see that. So remember, you can download that, but this is what you're going to get if you do run that evaluation completion exception report. In addition to the quick reports, when you click on that reporting tab, you can do the drop down and change this to GP status and that evaluation process current year. Depending on your role, if you're a district administrator, you may have to choose your school. If you are a site administrator, you're probably just going to have one school chosen for you. And that report is going to help give you information as well, just making sure you're looking at that report. So that is another very beneficial report that you can find when you are in that reporting icon. Once you click on that, this report is not very user-friendly to print, but if you have to have numbers and statistics for your superintendent, this is that place to find that. So once you click on that, you narrow it down by school. You're going to see that you can see how many people are on that plan type. You can see how many people total people, how many have not started, how many are in progress, or how many are complete. And you're hoping at this point in the year you have all of your beginning of the year stuff taken care of, and you are now working on that mid-year information. But this might be a good report to get those statistics and numbers for your superintendents or whoever else might need that in administration. Jennifer?
Okay. We wanted to just share the resource sites. We've been pointing out that a lot of these things can be found on the new NCEES site. This is new. We've transferred over from our Google site onto our Canvas site. So if you have not bookmarked this bit.ly, please do that. But this is where you can find all the information, resources, and policies concerning all of the staff type, like the teachers, the principals, all your support staff, your central office, and superintendent. And then we have some other resources on this site that you can use and access at any point in time. So please do bookmark, share this with your teachers and your principals, and make sure everybody knows we've switched over. It's a great resource for you.
It is, and just recently, when you click here, you'll have access to all previous year's webinars, and you'll have access to the webinars we've done this year as well, with the recordings and the presentations already linked. So like Jennifer said, if you haven't, and that was just added recently, so that is new there. Also, if you are a NCEES administrator, if you're a district administrator, site administrator, if you have not joined the NCEES Admin Resource Hub, we highly recommend that you join that. This is found through the blue canvas that is in NC EdCloud. So once you click on the blue canvas in NC EdCloud, scroll all the way down on the left to Home-Based Resources, and then you're going to click on the word NCEES. And if you've already been there, you're going to see go to the course, but the very first time you're going to see enroll in the course. So you're just going to want to make sure that you enroll in that course. There are modules through the whole school year. There's a module for MOY that you'll see there. If there's something you missed from beginning of year, that's there too. So if you have not joined this, we highly recommend you joining this resource. We also have some upcoming webinars. You'll see that these are the 2 webinars that we are doing today. If you would like to register for our webinars that are coming up in November, or if you would like to register for the webinar we're going to have this afternoon, we have one at just about 18 minutes. If you'd like to hear what we're going to share with teachers and staff, you're welcome to join that. Go ahead and join that, so you can go ahead and get your email with the link to go to that webinar if you'd like to do that, because that link will come in an email to you. But also November the 9th, we're going to have reports about staff evaluations, dashboards, and how to do that in NCEES. And then on November 22nd, we'll talk about reporting, ad hoc reporting, and exporting to PDF within NCEES. So if those are webinars you think might be beneficial to you, please look at those. And if you want to go back and refer to our other webinars we've done this year, you'll see that with the exception of the one we did last Thursday, and that'll be uploaded soon, you'll see that the recordings and the presentations are linked there as well. If you have not yet looked at the YouTube playlist, that's where we also do upload the webinars as well there. So if you go to YouTube, we do have it linked here. You'll see that we do have these webinars linked here as well. So we are actually finished on time. So we will stay on and ask questions, but I do want to go ahead and just let you know, we do pay attention when you ask questions. For our feedback form, it does ask for your region. So if you just want to take a quick look at this, find where your county where you teach or where you work is located. Pay attention to what district that is in. At DPI, we do kind of refer to everything in the district. So pay attention to your region. And then the next slide is going to be a chance for you to give us feedback, because we do try to get better each time. And at the very end, there is an option for you to have a certificate that is completed and filled back out to you. So type your name as you would like for it to appear on the certificate, and you will get a certificate back in your email. It comes within just a few minutes as soon as you submit this. You're allowed to do feedback without giving us feedback. I mean, you're allowed to do the feedback without getting the certificate, but if you do want the certificate, you do have to enter in your email for that as well. So the last thing I did want to show is your contacts before we ask questions. Just making sure that you're paying attention to your contacts. So DPI contacts, you'll see that you do have Matthew Mayo, who's our home-based, I need to update his title, but digital teaching and learning is up here. And then I am an education product consultant. Right now, we do not have a NCEES product owner. Jennifer Bass is the NCEES coordinator. Cammie, who's continuing to be support as we navigate this as well. If at any time you do need support and you do need to submit a work ticket or a ServiceNow ticket, if there's issues, your designated person can submit a ServiceNow ticket. And if you'll look at your NCEES leads list and make sure that who we have listed here is correct, so you can click on either of these icons. If for some reason the people listed here are not correct, please email home_base@dpi.nc.gov so we can make sure we get your information updated. And, oh, excuse me, did not mean to click there. And are there any questions? I was going to say, have there been any questions in the chat?
There have not been.
I am going to allow you to unmute yourself. Thank you so much for joining us today.